Hallelujah. So, as I am healing, growing in self awareness, um, so I learned some things today. Gonna get into that. I don't really know how to get into it, so I'm just gonna pick somewhere and then, unravel a little bit from there. Um, as I'm piecing my life together, because in 2004, me and my sisters were kidnapped and taken into foster care. And how that went, CPS had been gang stalking my mom for several years and mentally intimidating her into giving us up. They would come the last following weeks before they took us. They would keep coming to the edge of the street in their white van, and then they would sit there and stake out for a while, and then they would leave. And so after years of this was causing my mom to mentally break down. It was so much stuff going on. In the prior, they left skull and bones in front of our house. They did so many other things I'm not going to get into right now. Um, and someone had reached out to my mom basically and told her that she had to do this 30-day program. And to her first understanding was that we would all be able to go to the program with her. My granddad owns land, so I don't understand why we couldn't just stay with him. Well, actually, I feel like it's because he sold us, but because my granddad had land, it's not like we had to go to foster care. But they said that my she couldn't bring us to the program, and that we she would get us back after the 30-day program. I guess nobody would keep us. So my mom called the CPS and told them to come get us after years of them gang stalking us and doing really, really horrible, curdling things to us. Um, so I came home from school one day and I realized things were off because my sisters normally run and meet me as I'm walking through the yard and hug me and jump on me. And that didn't happen. And I just seen in my mind, in my spirit, that they were gone. And I started crying. I ran to the tree. My mom was sitting in the tree crying. And she told me that they had took my sisters and to pack my bags and that she was going to get us back in 30 days. When we went to foster care, our social workers started started bragging that we were not going back with our parents. I was mostly nonverbal. I became mostly nonverbal. Um, my I never got in trouble because I didn't do anything wrong. At one of our um, meetings, the counselor told my foster mom in front of me, just make something up because she's abused. Abused children are just going, like, even though she's quiet right now, one day if you just keep writing good things about her, one day she's just going to spaz out and nobody's going to believe you because you're only writing good things about her. And then when me and the social workers would be alone, they would be taunting me. They would be hitting me, making fun of me, telling me that I wasn't going back with my mom because the program is set up that way. And so they would do things to try to make me go off, as well as setting up for me to be sexually abused. And my siblings as well. They sex trafficked us and medically experimented on us. Um, and completely isolated isolated a lot of us. Um, every firstborn child in that foster agency had the same allegations against us, and they were very not true. Um, what the system has done is I completely isolated me from society because of the things that the truths that I hold, that they sex trafficked us, that they experimented on us, that they sold us in many different ways. Like I said, Hillary Clinton attempted to kidnap me in the first grade, but I was silenced. I started speaking out before I forgot her name. But then everybody starts saying, believe her, basically that I'm nobody. But I was the one saying, I said, she experienced celebrities. I experienced politicians. And like I said, then the politicians started coming out because I was speaking on my life. Hillary Clinton attempted to kidnap me. 4 years later, through the Truancy Act, Kamala Harris, they did that. I never had a relationship with anyone. I've been a sex slave my entire life without me knowing. So they intentionally caused for me to develop attachment and detachment disorders. So because that I never really had a relationship with anyone, I get attached to people fast and I don't understand that. Someone explained to me today and made it clear. And so that helped me grow a little bit. So that helped me see how people see me a little bit more because I've been forced to go through the world communicating with people, but I've never experienced a relationship. I've been being brutally, physically, and sexually assaulted my entire life, and the government has isolated me and is trying to. From that, the only reason why I'm on social media is because I'm completely isolated. Then, through family, they orchestrated for my children to be completely ripped from me. I'm completely isolated. I didn't want to say that last year because I was being gang stalked, my life was being threatened. So I could not appear to be alone. I do have a friend um that the Most High blessed me to have. I have one friend in my life. I've been completely isolated from everybody else. I don't understand relationship format because I was only brutally, physically, and sexually abused. I was not allowed to be a part of the family. CPS and the police gave my aunt the book a child called it and told her to have me read it for punishment. And then it was implemented as a playbook on my life. I was not allowed to, I went to school with people, but I I very limited relationship connection. I catch on to things very fast. I can learn things very fast, but I'm not just going to learn from watching someone. It has to be an emotional connection. So if I don't connect with someone, I'm not just going to learn from watching. I'm going to forget. It's not going to stay in my memory. They're trying to make me freak out and go off and look crazy so that they could disappear me into a mental ward. I'm not crazy. I'm suffering from being completely isolated my entire life. And it's not even just me. They're doing this to a lot of foster kids and a lot of adults who aged out of foster care. And all of them aren't going to be as calm as me. I have the Most High, thankfully, and the Most High blessed me to be able to make a friend. Some people from being isolated are going to start freaking out. They're going to start losing their minds, but it's not irreversible. They need to tell the truth, and that's going to be really hard because a lot of the things that we went through, they're going to want to lie, and that's going to keep them that's going to keep their mind lost. You have to be very truthful to come out of this. And then you also have to have someone that's not provoking you and someone that cares to come, but also very clear and stern with you because they completely fucked up our senses. From very young, we've been being gaslit, manipulated, abused to where that they can turn people into dogs, or they can turn people into these different things because they started that satanic ritual abuse from when we were children. They were trying to do that to me, but I have the Most High, and He led me up out of there. There's still a lot that I don't understand. I still get attached to people that I don't know. Not going to do that now because someone explained to me why that's weird. But I still don't know how to connect because I've, from a child, been only physically and sexually abused and then completely left to my own to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do, which for me was reading scripture and studying. I was left to do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. I was called to scripture and studying history. I could have been anything. I could have turned into, no, because the Most High is with me, but people could have turned into anything. I was left to, I did not have structure. I was just physically, sexually abused, isolated. And the Most High called me because I realized if I was not, the only time I was not getting abused was when I was holding, if I was holding the word, I wasn't getting abused. If I was reading, I was a kid, I used to think that I could absorb the power, from like holding it. And it did work sometimes actually, but you do gotta read. But it do actually work too. Just holding and calling on the side definitely be working. But you do gotta read as well. So it's very scary. It's very scary out here because I am being gang stalked. And I did not realize I was being gang stalked until 2023 when Killeen, Texas police broke in 15 deep and brutally assaulted and kidnapped me and my child, discharged me to a homeless shelter and told me I had to stay there indefinitely because I was mostly nonverbal and they thought I was retarded. Again, no disrespect to the people who actually are. People just call me that all the time, so that's why that word is always on my mind. But they're trying to cut me off from society so that I will not be able to heal and come to how I'm coming now. And that will cause me to just freak out like I was freaking out a little bit before from being isolated, and so that they can have a reason to put me in a mental ward. And there's other people who aren't getting these breaks, that's not connecting with people, that's not studying, that's probably not aware. I feel like a lot of us are aware that we're being gang stalked now. But don't know how to get out of it, and they're going to freak out. And then the government's going to be like, oh yeah, these people never committed crimes in their lives, and then they just randomly go off. We're being gang stalked, we're being isolated, and it is very, very scary. I understand now it's not normal to just connect to people that you don't know, but I don't know anybody. I've been isolated my entire life. I do have a friend, right? And I'm not trying to get to know nobody. First off, I'm indigenous. I'm a royal bloodline. I don't want to get married to anybody else. Not fucking with none of y'all weird ass niggas. Stay the fuck away from me. I am trying to get my children that are being physically abused. I pray and hope not sexually. I hope the physical abuse stop. But it's really going to be some problem if my children have been touched. Some people going to be touched with death. I'm just trying to get my children, raise my children, and be left the fuck alone. That's all I want.